Beautiful, everything is beautiful. Doesn't always appear that way. And we saw a lizard out there this morning. We came in this big old lizard. Oh my gosh, he was gorgeous. He was beautiful. You know, I would have been scared many years ago about that, but he was beautiful. And I do believe that the world will find a way. I really think, do you believe that too? That eventually that we will, you know, there will be peace, and that, I just know that. And I think that if we can recognize the truth of who we are, you know, if everybody really gets to the point when they know the spiritual power and the love that is inside of them, we will find a way. I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime, you know, and I just know though that it can happen. We're talking about today about the human garden, and Martin Nepo uses that metaphor, and I really like it because what he says is that he talks about how we root as humans. We root and we bloom and we twine around each other, and he says and we're all reaching for the light, you know, and that's so true. You know, we're all reaching for something. Call it God, you know, call it love, but we're all yearning for something to complete us. And also, he says, how far we grow in the dark is as far as we stand in the world. Do you love that? Now think about the stuff you're going through in your life, all of the you know, pains and the sorrows. And as we work through that and grow, we stand tall. You know, we reach and we are tall, beautiful human beings in the world. And he says that what really matters is that I am each person. I am each person. We are connected. And what matters is whether I shun those who have my flaws or I help them. See, if we're all connected and there's something that is going on in you, there's something going on in somebody else. And everybody you meet, you know how Plato said that everybody you meet, be kind because they have a great battle they're going through? Every one of us are going through things in our life. You know, that's what life is. There's a good, you know, there's the happiness and the joy, and then there's this devastating, the sorrow. As I was doing this, the videos about the chimps, I happened to go through a bunch of videos, and I saw this one, and it was about chimpanzees, a group of them, that had been in a lab for 30 years. 30 years in a cage, and taken out of the cage and worked on, taken back into the cage, never been outside, never seen anything. And then there's this group that is working, you know, to try to do something about that. So on this video, it showed the chimps' first day out of their cage and outside. And you saw these chimps come out, and the door opened, and you saw this one little chimp, and he just looked up, and he saw the sky, and he saw the trees, and he just saw everything. He just saw life. And I cried. I wept. And afterwards, I thought about it, and I thought, you know, am I crying because I'm so happy that he got out and he got to see it, or am I crying because I'm sad that he hadn't seen it before and that somebody would do this to them? You know? And I got to thinking, that's what life is, you know? It's all of it. We're all of that inside. We're all those feelings. We're the sadness of the lab animals, and yet we're the joy of the people who saw that they needed to be out. You know, that's what we're talking about today. The whole human garden. You know, it's filled with the weeds. You know, sometimes we're the weed that sucks the life out of other people, and sometimes, you know, we're the beautiful, fragrant blossom. You know, we're just all of it. Life is all of it. And the more that we can understand that and allow those feelings to come, the more that we can replace those weeds that we have inside with love and compassion and kindness. And that's what we're talking about today, is, you know, being able to be kind and be compassionate. And all of us have deep, deep compassion in us. It's just that sometimes we don't cultivate it enough. And the more we call upon the love within us, the more that we can cultivate compassion for everyone else too. So I read this, and I want to speak to this because I've read this before, but I think it calls to what we're talking about today, and it's called royalty. And it says, if you have food in your refrigerator, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you are richer than 75% of the world's population. Wow, just think about that. 75%. If you have a little money in the bank or spare change in a dish somewhere, you are among the top 8% of the world's wealthy. If you can drink from your kitchen faucet whenever you want, You are more fortunate by far than 1.5 billion people who have no access to clean water at all. If you can attend church or a political rally without fear of harassment, arrest, torture, or death, you have the kind of freedom denied to more than 3 billion people in the world. If you can read this message, you are more blessed than 2 million people who cannot even read at all. If your everyday problems are wearing you down, there are millions of people on earth who would gladly trade places with you right now, problems and all, and feel that they have been royally blessed. You know, I'm not much on comparisons. I never liked that. My kids hate that, but I did that. You know, when I, as a mother, I used to say, eat that. There's kids starving in the world, and so when I read this to them, they're, oh, Mom, But the truth is, it puts our lives a little bit in perspective, doesn't it? Sometimes when you're weighed down by different things, all the stuff of the world, it puts it in perspective. And the idea that we can be more kind and more compassionate is huge. 75%. We have, think what we have, 75% are just trying to survive. Just trying to survive. So I thought about common ground, and I thought about, you know what, you guys are a compassionate bunch. Let me tell you, you give to common ground, monetarily, you give to common ground, with your hearts. But I made a little list. I was thinking about this morning. Common ground gives out with your money, to the people that we talked about, this other 75%. We give out to Kiva. We give out, Kiva gives loans to people of poverty. We give to Project Hope, their homeless outreach for children and education. We give to the Working Shield, improving life for Indian children, to the Humane Society. We give bus passes here in Mercy House for homeless people. We have a whole bunch of other ones we give, but these are just ideas. You guys give. You're compassionate. And that's awesome, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today, because we can always give more, we can always help somebody. What I'm talking about is giving compassion with your heart to the world, giving kindness and compassion with putting good vibes out into the world. Because I'll tell you what, when you just look at the news, when you see what goes on, it weighs you down, doesn't it? It's like it's a heaviness. And do you remember last week when Judy showed the video of the homeless man? You couldn't really hear it, but you could see that he was crying, because he was getting no respect. He didn't care, it wasn't about the money. It was about our acknowledging, right? The guy didn't get acknowledged. Everybody would walk by and ignore him, would say mean things to him. What I'm talking about is not giving of things, but giving of yourself, of giving your heart to other people. After I saw that video, it's funny because when you see something, you start to see it all over the place, right? So I left, and there was a homeless lady, and my first instinct, and I have to be honest with you, is to put your eyes down this way, especially if you're not going to give any money, right? And I wasn't. But my eyes went down and walked by, and then I got to thinking about that video, and I went back, and I said, I found a little bit of change, I had in my car, and I went back, and I said, how you doing today? And I made a connection, and that's what I'm talking about, is that, we need to add good vibes, not bad vibes to the world. And the world is so heavy that sometimes I think that it's up to each one of us. Last week I said that we're the people and these are the times, and I really meant that we are the people here because we're the 25% that can make a difference in the world by the way that you think, by the way that you interact with nature, by the way that you interact with each other, with the people that aren't, as fortunate as we are. I love what Marianne Williamson says about this idea of weighing us down, of gravity, of like our whole life is just like, have you ever just felt like you want to go home and sleep and put the covers over your head because there's so much negativity out in the world, And I got home, another thing, I got home on Sunday, last Sunday, we talked about judgment, right? So I get on my computer, and I have this somebody forwards me from my family, this judgmental thing about, Islam in America, and that all Islam is bad. Anyway, and I felt myself kind of, tense up, and then I thought, I'm judging the judger, right? Because we do that, right? And we judge the judger. And I thought, these aren't the vibes I want to put in. So I did form a letter, and it was a real kind, beautiful letter that said, basically, that, that ISIS is not Islam. right? You know, there's good people, Christians, there's bad Christians, there's good Muslims, there's bad Muslims, there's all of it. That's what I'm saying, this human garden, it's all of it. And we have to see that, you know? And it's, what Marianne Williamson says is that this gravity is just weighing us down. She said that in order to counter the gravity, you know, in our physical bodies, we work out, right? So, you know, you're starting to see the signs of gravity, you know? See when you're on there, like, you know? Not you, not me. But you see it, right? So you gotta work out.
Yeah.
What she says is we gotta really do our spiritual practice, you guys. She said we have to work out our insides. We have got to get up every morning and meditate and pray or read or whatever it is that gets you in sync with life, that makes you feel good before you go out the door. You know, we brush our teeth, we comb our hair, we get all ready to go out. But I'm talking about getting our insides ready to meet other people, to meet this world, to meet the heaviness of the world. She said we've got to spiritually work out, and with practice, we can do that. You know, that we come to church and we hear it one time, and then we leave all week until you come back again. You know, and you hear it one time. I'm talking about a practice where every single day you are centering yourself so that you can meet the world, so that life is your spiritual practice. And you know, what's so interesting is that even the brain scans that you do after people meditate, you know, it shifts us. You know how when I was a girl in Bible school, they used to say, put on the mind of Christ. Put on the mind of Christ. And that's just not something that you just put on the mind of Christ. It's true. It's not just a metaphor. It's a call to become more peaceful, more creative, and more productive. This putting on the mind of Christ is setting yourself in love and compassion and kindness, you know? And we're the people, all of us here, are the people that are capable of doing this more than anybody. You know, in the whole world, we're the 25% that can change this world by changing ourselves, by going into the well so deep that we find that compassion for each other, by facing the homeless people on the street, by looking straight at them, by looking in their eyes and seeing the Christ self in everybody, seeing that God self in every single person. You know, whether, you know, the person that sent me the forward, you know, I had to look in the heart there, and there was a fear, right? You look in, you see the fear. So I think we misunderstand this idea of practice, spiritual practice. We think that, you know, it's just sitting in meditation. I'll tell you what, I started doing that, and it's the most beautiful thing there is. It clears your mind. It calms you. It centers you. And ever since we've started doing it here, I can't tell you, there's a shift. About 2 years ago, I think I started steadily doing it. And I see an opening in my heart. And that's what I'm asking you. If you don't do meditation, do something that centers you. Read something every morning that just makes you feel good. Listen to a song. I told you for a while I listen to the Beatles songs. I love them. I dance in the morning. Okay, that's what got me going. There's anything that you can do to make your heart expand so that you can greet the world. You know, it depends on your lifestyle. We all don't have to do the same thing. This morning, I watched, it's kind of nice because we're late now and I can watch that opera, the Soul Sunday or something. And they were talking about stillness. And the guy on there said, stillness and kindness is my religion. And I love that. Stillness and kindness is his religion. You know, we are called to start to look through the lens of love instead of fear. That's so important. Everything we see, we can find the love in it. The scary things in life, you know, the things we're afraid of, we can allow that fear to turn into love. Each one of us can do that if we try. We can ground ourselves every day in a deep remembrance of who we really are. Who we really are is the power of love and kindness and compassion in our lives. We can actualize that spiritual power. Marianne Williamson, she's great. She says, we were created in love, and in loving, we are fulfilling the purpose of our life. That's why we're here, you guys. We're here to dig deep into that well of compassion and give it out. We are here to fulfill our purpose that way. With every thought that we think, we either extend love or we project fear into this world. So when you go out today, think about this. I'm going to just really invite you as you go out today, wherever you're going today, to fill yourself with the power of love. You know, really fill yourself with the power of love. And whoever you see, blast them with love. You know, blast them with love. You know, I honestly do that up here. I sit there and I see you guys and I just blast you with tons of love. And I'll tell you what, it's for me. I don't do it for you. No, I'm kidding, I do it for you, but for me, you know what I'm saying? When you do that, you feel good, I feel protected. When I'm loving you, I feel you loving me. Wait, was that profound? I thought so. You know, but isn't that true? When you have that energy and that power, you know, that you feel it when you give it out. So that's my call today to you is that, you know, you can't send somebody love. You can't send them love without, you know, feeling it inside of you. You cannot do that. You can't feel fear about somebody when you're loving them. I can't be afraid of you. I can't be intimidated by you when I'm loving you. So go home in your family today if there's somebody that needs your love. You know, give them all the love. You know, give Pat all your love today as you go home. You know, everybody in our home. You know, that's where it starts. The hardest part is our own family. I know that. You know, so you give them, and then everywhere you go, just send it out. You know, this presence of love, you know, takes care of everything in our life. So my prayer is that we get up every single day of our life and we see through the lens of compassion and love. Thank you. I'm glad you did. Thank you for that. Thank you for having the courage to say that. Wow. So, give me tingles. Thank you. So, compassion and love. You know, I think I'm just going to turn it over to Judy and say, let's become a radiating garden of humanity. Thank you.